Sup everyone, Raiden's Blade 1 here, and today some more interesting news came up. I just read in a recent article from N4G that the Star Wars Battlefront is now going to be coming out with offline multiplayer. That's right, offline multiplayer. Now, how this is exactly going to work, it's unsure yet. They're still working out some actual bugs. It wasn't exactly confirmed when exactly they're coming out with it. However, it does appear that they're also be coming out with some more DLC news soon for some information about the season passes, because as we all know, those season passes don't really tell you much aside from probably having a few telling us that there are some maps coming around and things like that. But this went into a small bit more detail, just not much. It did say that this new DLC that is coming out will probably be having some new guns, like I think it was about 20 guns or something like that, as well as 4 modes and vehicles, or pardon me, not vehicles, but heroes and villains, and a few other, geez, it's hard to plan this, and along with a few other things like star cards. Now, the other thing is this offline multiplayer that's apparently that's coming around. I am not exactly sure personally how this is going to work or why they're going in this direction. I mean, I'm not sure if this means that Sony is now going back to a more free online service like they did with the PS3, although I kind of doubt it, because they've made a ton of money from doing this PS Plus service thing. So for them to do this for Star Wars Battlefront is actually kind of interesting. It could be possibly, and especially for more free DLC that's coming around, it could be possibly a way of trying to regain a lot of their fan base back for that game. I mean, like, even though they had a good run for it at first, it's probably the way it was dwindling a while back, it's probably this is a way of trying to regain a lot of them back to hype up their DLC, or maybe even their, along with their other, season passes, etc., or along with what's coming else in their season passes. But they are still working out bugs on it and issues, which is fine. I mean, that's perfectly understandable. I mean, you're making an online multiplayer free from what it sounds like on what they're doing for free. From what it reads in here, there was not a lot of information that I read on it, though. What I did, but there was just enough here to at least say or to at least confirm that there is some kind of online or an offline multiplayer that's coming around. They're just, and although it doesn't say when exactly it's coming from, it was explained in a more confirmed in an actual forum. At first, it was heard off of some kind of a customer support conversation that was going on, but now they've in some online forums is now confirmed even more that they're doing some kind of talks of getting this offline multiplayer going through with it and all, and this is great. But with these 20 guns that are coming around, like, if they do go free for multiplayer offline, I really would. I have no idea how this is going to work. Is this some kind of a special deal they got with Sony, kind of like what Sony did with on that one weekend when they made it all free for people to play online for that one specific time? Whether it's or if they're just doing this for this particular game, maybe it's a temporary thing. I'm really kind of confused how they're going to exactly make this work. So maybe you guys can let me know in the comments below. But even so, I'm pretty sure that they'll find a way to make it work. Even though I'm really interested. I really have no clue as to how this is going to work. How are you going to have multiplayer while it's either they're going to make it free for this particular game, or they're going to somehow have a certain extra server or something like that for the Star Wars Battlefront players. to sort of hang out with, like a kind of like a, you know, just like a chat room or something, you know, to, you know, for them to hang out in and play each other. But this is, I find this is quite interesting and quite cool actually, because yeah, I'm just done with this, fixing up this site here because it was kind of low on food, so I'm done with it now. But I think that this is a real interesting direction for them to go on. So, but with these 20 guns coming in, I'm kind of, this also does sort of worry me about, you know, if they do make this. I'm not sure if they're doing this for Xbox. It doesn't say anything about Xbox. It just said only about the PlayStation Network. So whether this is going to happen on Microsoft's end, even though as much as I doubt it, I suppose it is sort of a possibility you could throw out there. But even though I highly doubt it, what worries me is if they're gonna probably use this as some kind of a way to sort of make a pay-to-play, or pardon me, a pay-to-win advantage, you know, for these 20 guns. Because as we know, the guns in Star Wars Battlefront, some were clearly a bit better than others. And if that's the case with Star Wars, you know, if they're still going kind of on that direction with Star Wars here, then that's, you know, that's going to upset a few players, and it's going to sure as heck kind of, you know, upset quite a few people and kind of shoot themselves in the head for what they're trying to do in terms of regaining their fan base back. So, whoops, down. Oh, there we go. So, because the gun, I'll give you an example. The DS, I believe it was called the DS or DL44 gun in that game was probably recognized as the most best gun in the game by far. You know, it had you know, it had its own higher accuracy, you know, huge accuracy, as well as well, I mean, all the guns are accurate basically in that game, but it had, you know, it did such an enormous amount of damage, and it was twice the fire rate of the T21 gun. And if they do make it a pay-to-win advantage, even though they're going free with all this, it's going to piss off a lot of people. Now, thankfully, though, it is true that they did that in order to get that gun, the DL44, all you had to do was be ranked 25, which in that game, in my opinion, was not really all that hard to get to. But still, if they make it a pay-to-win advantage, then this is really going to probably set them back, do more damage than it does good, because you're going, you know, obviously it's going to be forcing people to pay, especially if they make these exclusively for season pass only members, you know. But that being said, I can understand why they would need, you know, to make the season pass actually worth, you know, worth something to the actual buyer and things like that. So, but if they make it a pay-to-win advantage, then they're really gonna screw themselves over. But if they did get a, you know, access to exclusive guns, that doesn't bother me all that much, just as long as it doesn't give them some kind of an overbearing advantage over the other players. Because if it does, then it's obviously going to be a pay-to-play online issue. What's going on here? So, but overall, though, what I think of this whole thing about them making multiplayer maps, the guy who also was the messenger from the companies of EA was some kind of a developer. His name was Guglielmin Moraz. Can't find. Geez, I'm terrible at pronouncing names, but I hope I pronounced that right. Whoop, shit, just pissed off a bunch of people. Apparently some kind of developer for the Heroes and something, and some kind of scripter, I guess. He was the one who said, shit! Ah, fuck, just blew my leg up. But, this is going to be very interesting, in my opinion, to see this, you know, EA especially, and DICE going into this direction for their game. Because, and if this does mean kind of more fear for future gamers, as well as sort of a free to play online, then this is definitely gonna really raise the bar for Sony in terms of their fan base, because it's gonna bring a lot of, it's gonna bring back the good times of when the PS3 was free. Now, unfortunately, we probably won't get access to all our free games, maybe, or perhaps not as much, which is, you know, understandable, because Sony can only go so far with these kinds of going free with so many things here. So, but still, I find it's really interesting that they're going this way, and quite grateful that I'm quite grateful to Sony that they're doing this. Now, if they're going to do this for the Xbox One, perfect. You know, the Xbox are going to be able to enjoy the whoop, shooting at me now. The Xbox is going to be able to enjoy a free online base as well, but it didn't say anything about Microsoft, so I'm just doubting that the Microsoft... So this is just me thinking out loud here, but I kind of doubt it's going to go on for Microsoft. But if it does, more power to them, you know. They get to have their little taste of free online multiplayer without having to pay online, even though, it's, in my opinion, it's kind of highly unlikely. But, whoa! Shit. Damn it. I keep blowing myself up here. Yeah, great game this game is Fallout 4. Really cool. But, man, these traps are tricky to see, especially when you're in combat here, but still a great game. But anyway, that's about all I really have to say on that issue. More free DLC coming up, and finally we get some talks of to what exactly... Oh, shit. Is going to be in these season passes, although it wasn't exactly said what was going to be in them yet. But it sounds like we're going to be getting some information about it real soon. So I'll try to keep you guys as updated as best I can, and on it, if I come across any more information, I'll probably address it later in a video or two. But anyway, that's all I have to say on this issue as for today, and hope you guys have a great night, and I'll talk to you later. Have a good one, guys. Bye.